Let's get some Ashlee up in here.
What up?
Hi, Ashlee.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good, I miss you.
I miss you too.
Hi, Justin. I've never actually spoken to you in person before. How are you?
Justin ran away because Justin doesn't want to get spoiled. You're going to spoil the show.
Fine. Well, I guess we'll just continue my never having spoken to Justin before. That's fair. Whatever.
He doesn't want to get spoiled, so he's hiding. He's hiding out. He doesn't want to get spoiled. So you are here, and we're going to talk about Better Call Saul Season 3. Now, you said earlier in the chat I saw that you have been rewatching the entire series, correct?
Yeah, it's one of those shows where it's so good, and you just, you're left wanting more. And honestly, when I watch it, there's so much that I want to go back and, see how it all was being set up and how well they did with it. It's just so perfect.
Well, that is so cute. Dan Brannick with a donation of $20, and he says Ashlee is the bestest.
Aww. Thanks,
he's so
Bob.
Cute.
He is me, though.
I love you, Dan.
Love it. I love you, Dan.
All right, so I unfortunately have not rewatched the entire series, but I did.
You don't have to.
Just come off of watching Season 3, which again is absolutely amazing. So I don't even know where you want to start with this season.
Okay, so I've got it all. So this is what I did. I did kind of like I used to do with my podcast, which is taking an indeterminate break. So I did a little bit of background for Better Call Saul. Started airing in 2015 through the present on AMC, and then Netflix has picked it up for, showing it all in binge sessions. So far, 3 seasons have aired, 30 episodes. Their 4th season is approved to come out sometime later this year. 8.7 out of 10 on IMDb. The summary for the show is the series follows the trials and tribulations of criminal lawyer Jimmy McGill in the time leading up to his strip mall law office in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Starring Bob Odenkirk, Reyes Sehorn, Jonathan Banks, Michael McKean, Patrick Fabian, and many others. So what I normally do, and you know this because you've been on the show, is I normally do a look back at the year that it premiered. But since it only premiered 3 years ago, I did a look back at the year that it takes place for Season 3, which is 2003.
Yes.
So it's a little something different. This, and honestly, I didn't even mean to do this, but this is very tailored to you. So in 2003, the TV shows that premiered, Chappelle's Show, American Next Top Model, and Arrested Development.
Yes.
The movies that came out were Too Fast, Too Furious, Kill Bill Volume 1, and The Room.
I know somebody that likes those Fast and Furious movies.
I do too. The top songs
from that year. Too Fast, Too Furious. Hi, Bob. I love you. Have fun.
Thank you, Bubby. Mwah. Top songs from that year were Ignition by R. Kelly, Hey Ya by Outkast, Your Body is a Wonderland by John Mayer, and It's 5 O'Clock Somewhere by Alan Jackson and Jimmy Buffett. In pop culture news, just so you can really understand what Jimmy McGill's going through and what's all around him, we had Schwarzenegger elected as the governor. Apple launched iTunes. Roy of Siegfried and Roy was attacked by the tiger, and the sex tape One Night in Paris debuted. So there you go. I know. All right, so I did a little bit of an episode guide because I got a little muddled when I put everything together, but let's just go ahead and start. I'll ask you, who are some of your favorite characters in the show overall?
I mean, you mean aside from Jimmy
aside
McGill,
from the
right?
two obvious answers of Jim McGill, and then my fucking heart belongs to Mike Ehrmantraut. I adore him.
Jonathan Banks is so good in this show. I am so glad that they picked him up for this show and actually decided to use him as a regular cast member because, God, I mean, it's not that they didn't utilize him in Breaking Bad because they definitely did, but man, they've utilized him so much more in Better Call Saul, and I love it.
I feel like Better Call Saul took the opportunity because with Breaking Bad, you had Saul Goodman, who's basically the comic relief, and then Mike, who's kind of the utility guy. They could have just left them as very surface characters, but instead we get this really good, deep character dive into what makes them them and all the stuff that they've been through and all the fights that they've, battled to get to where they are and all the losses they've suffered. And you really, because they already had a little piece of my heart, and now I just have so much empathy for everything. And when you know at the end that Saul's going to end up in witness protection and all this horrible stuff's going to happen to him, that he's going to take another loss and lose everything that he's had, but you still watch the whole journey to see him get there. It's amazing.
So That's actually a really, really good question. I want to pitch that at you. How do you feel about the black and white vignettes, the little things that open every season?
Honestly, I could take them or leave them, but I feel like it kind of reminds you that you know how this story is going to end, that you can watch this whole thing and you can get hopeful that Jimmy's going to, come through and he's going to be successful, but ultimately we know exactly what's going to happen. And it's just that kind of, this is going to get fucked over again. Walter White's going to ruin this guy's life no matter what he's done. He just can't get away from all these people.
Yeah. It's, it really kind of adds a little bit of a tragic tinge to it. I especially really loved, the season 2 one was really good where he gets locked in the room, but he doesn't want to call security.
Yeah, when he's taking out the trash or whatever, and then he writes in the wall, SG was here.
Yep. And then I really, really loved in this season too, where, it opens and, he basically, he points out, that the guy, the thief or whatever is hiding in the photo booth. And then he immediately, like almost instinctively just yells out to him, get a lawyer.
Yeah.
Don't say anything
like
to
you
get a
can
lawyer.
see him trying to hold himself back and trying to be like, no, this is not my life anymore. But he just can't help himself.
Yeah. It's just one of those things I think that's in his blood. But to get back around to your question, because you had asked it, favorite characters, and I love to hate this character, but Mike McKean as Chuck. I fucking love Chuck, and I don't like the character. Like, the character is a fucking asshole, and I can't wait to get into that this season. But
oh, man.
Mike McKean is so fucking good, and he sells every single bit of it. He better fucking pick up some love on the awards circuit this year.
That fucking character arc this year was amazing.
Yes.
Absolutely. And then the fucking finale, which we'll get to, just blew me out of the water.
Oh,
crazy shit.
The finale.
Legitimately.
God, he's amazing.
Right,
yeah, I want to know yours.
My favorite character is fucking Mike Ehrmantraut. I adore him, and I feel like
we said besides the obvious too, though.
I can't help it. I love him. I feel like Kim Wexler is one of those characters that she's never, you don't know anything about her. You know that she and Jimmy had this huge connection, and we don't know what happens to her. So I'm kind of intrigued by her. I feel like she's kind of like how Skylar was described as just the right amount of dirty, where she can play along with Jimmy and she can, hang with him, but she also has that kind of moral compass that she helps keep bringing him back to center on.
Yeah, I'm really intrigued to see kind of what happens to her. You know who else I really love, and I also really despise the character, is fucking Howard. I love Patrick Fabian.
What a fucking dick. That guy. Fucking Hamlin.
He's so good in that role.
Such a dick.
Oh my God.
Yeah. All right, so I guess we'll just kind of I don't know, do you want to kind of roll through how the season progressed and give commentary on it, or do you want to just do our usual general discussion on things?
I think we don't have time for really an episode by episode breakdown, but there's really two major plots that kind of happened this season. So the end of season 2, we know that Chuck has recorded Jimmy confessing that he altered the documents in the Mesa Verde documents to make sure that Kim got the suit. So there's that plot line, and there's the plot line of somebody stops Mike from killing Hector Salamanca, and we find out this season who that is, and of course it is Gus Fring.
Gustavo.
Oh,
man,
so good.
That is the smoothest fucking criminal, is he not?
I love Gus Fring. I'm so glad to see him again.
Figured out. Yeah. Well, I guess the best way to kind of go through this, we talked about I usually do most annoying characters, but the characters we talked about are annoying, but they're all played to perfection. So I don't really have anybody that I don't want on the show or I wish wasn't here.
Yeah, I have none. I have nobody that I replace here.
No, not at all. What were some of your favorite moments from this season?
Jimmy finally getting one up on Chuck at the bar hearing.
Yeah.
Jimmy pulling a fast one on Chuck is amazing.
Well, because he keeps getting tripped up, and you think that Rebecca showing up is going to get him to stumble, and you think that the stuff with the phone, he's like, oh, and then he realized the battery's not in it, and then he goes, boom, gotcha, and he just has a full fucking meltdown in court.
Yeah, I love that, because Chuck, and the show definitely portrays it this way. Whether or not you believe it is another question, but the show definitely portrays that Chuck is much, much smarter than Jimmy, especially in terms of legally smart. So the fact that Jimmy is able to legally outmaneuver him, and basically he uses his condition against him, because Jimmy, remember, was it season 1 or season 2 where he was told that it's all in Chuck's head, it's not real?
Well, in season 1, because I just rewatched this, it's when the cops break down Chuck's door and take him to the hospital.
That's
and
right.
The doctor is trying to get him committed and turns on the hospital bed and he doesn't notice. So it's like that kind of thing where you go, okay, so then he just really convinced himself that this is a real condition, but it's all in his head.
Yeah. And it's tragic in one way because Chuck has that mental illness, but Jimmy, as much as you can say about Jimmy, that he will bend the truth and he will bend the rules and bend the law to kind of get his way. Chuck is a fucking piece of shit.
He is such a smug douchebag. The fact that he was like, so he was like super, I guess, I don't even want to say like elitist about where Jimmy got his law school degree from, and didn't want him to fucking move up in his own firm, and just literally found every possible way to shut him down and keep him from getting a degree and becoming a lawyer, and saying it was because he was slipping Jimmy and he was just always going to try to screw somebody over. But in fact, Chuck was the one screwing him over the whole fucking time. Asshole.
Yeah, literally the entire time. And Jimmy, because Chuck is definitely, like a big older brother, like he really looks up to Chuck, and he really just constantly is trying to get Chuck's approval, constantly seeking Chuck's approval. And like the most despicable moment, and it stands up there with moments like, if you think back to Breaking Bad, where Walt tells Jesse that he watched Jane die, like the coldness of it. When Chuck tells Jimmy that he never cared for him in the finale of this season.
It killed me.
Fucking crushed me. It absolutely destroyed and leveled me. I literally, that was one of those kind of moments where my jaw kind of fell open a little bit, and I was just like, holy shit, Chuck, you are a piece of shit.
Well, because honestly, so you see Jimmy kind of going back more towards Jimmy than Saul Goodman, because he does the whole thing where he screws over Irene, who's the class action representative for the Sandpiper case, so he can try to get his money, screws her out of all of her friendships, and then can't fix it, so he goes and literally sacrifices everything he spent all. He
throws it all away,
Throws it all away. So you see that he is redeemable, he can be saved, and Chuck literally doing that, he's like, well, fuck it, what's the point? I might as well be a dick.
That is like I said, seriously, that ranks up there with some of those insanely cold moments from Breaking Bad. That's why that's the genius of Vince Gilligan showing through right there, because god damn is Chuck a son of a bitch.
He is a son of a bitch.
Man, like it's, you could tell just kind of in that moment, when Jimmy's in the house, you can just tell, you can just feel how much that devastates Jimmy. Can we talk for a moment, please, about how amazing Bob Odenkirk is in this role?
He is.
Both comedically and dramatically. Just both.
Because he was all the comic relief in Breaking Bad. He didn't really have any kind of heavy or weight to his storyline. And then he comes in and just fucking knocks it out of the park with the show. Like, it starts off intense and exciting, and it does not let its foot off the gas for 10 episodes straight. There was not a dull episode in this entire season.
It legitimately... It's amazing, and let me pitch that question back over to you that you asked me. What were some of your favorite moments from this season?
One of my favorite moments in particular is when Jimmy's stuck doing community service, and the guy is trying to get out of it, saying his daughter's in the hospital, and Jimmy spots that the guy's got like a couple $1,000s in his fucking sock, and does this whole thing to get both of them out of it so he can lay down and chill. And you see that glimmer of Saul Goodman coming out, and you see how fucking slick this guy is and how much he's got everybody playing into the palm of his hand, and it's just awesome.
How great was that moment this year when he says it? Yeah, it's all good, man.
It's all good, man. Yes. He's actually said it in the past couple of seasons too, like when he was back in Chicago and him and his big fat friend were running the scam, he told the guys that they were scamming that his name was Saul Goodman. So he's kind of peeked his head out a little bit, but every season it gets more and more bold and more brazen. and it's just so fucking exciting to see.
Well, I think there's almost, if you watch the show this way, there's almost a kind of tug of war for Jimmy's soul between, say, Kim and Chuck. And you said it perfectly about Kim, where she will skate on that line of, but they even have the scene where they're at the bar, like kind of naming people and naming the swindles, the scams that they'd run on them, where she just sits there, and after, like, Jimmy, you can tell he's in a dark place at this moment because, like, legitimately, like, I don't want to talk about Chuck too much, but Chuck completely fucks Jimmy this entire season. And it makes Jimmy, like, think about where he knows when he goes to talk about the malpractice insurance. Mm-hmm. And he fucks Chuck over by telling him about his outburst in court. Him over
so hard.
The look in his face, the look on his face is just is brilliant. But I feel like there's this tug of war in this series for Jimmy's soul between Kim, who kind of represents like a better life for him. Like if he could marry Kim and like stick with his elder law practice, because he's a charismatic motherfucker. These old people love him. And I love that. I love Jimmy McGill, like that character in terms of that lawyer. But then there's Chuck, who literally just wants to do nothing but destroy him and tear his law degree away from him. And
and all he ever did was do it because he idolized his older brother. He just wanted his older brother to be proud of him.
And we know who wins. And that's one of the tragic things about watching this series. And it's always tough when you watch something where you kind of know how it ends. But it's tragic because you know, like you said, back with the vignettes, you know where this character is going to end up. Yep. You know he's going to end up in a strip mall. You know he's going to end up meeting Walter White, who's going to ruin his life and force him to start over all over again. It's just
he can't. Every time he tries to do the right thing, something fucking happens that brings him back down into the fucking sewers.
God, I fucking hate Chuck. Can
we talk real quick about what a piece of shit Chuck is? So Howard, meanwhile, this entire time is looking like the biggest dick in the world to Jimmy because he's taking all the blame for all of Chuck's trying to fuck him over. And then fucking Chuck threatens to sue HHM or bankrupt them at the end of the fucking season. And Howard's like, I've sat here, I've done everything for you. I've fucking had your back through everything. I've done everything you've asked me to do. And you fucking threaten litigation and to bankrupt my family's firm? Like, what a dick.
Well, that's the stubbornness and the piece of shitness in him, because they're going to jack up his malpractice insurance. And he goes on this whole diatribe about threatening them with litigation.
Yeah. Like, what are you doing, dude? You actually have a problem. Are you that fucking holier than thou that you cannot see that you're actually a fucking liability? Oh. And you can't. So then the last episode, after he turns away Jimmy and says, like, I've never cared about you, he goes into full-blown madness, like thinking there's some power source in his house because he's turned up all the breakers and the power meter keeps on running. So he's like breaking, what would you call it? Like tearing down all of his walls trying to find this thing, and eventually just hits that thing off the wall and then kicks over a gas lantern, so he just fucking sets himself and his house on fire. So that's a fucking ending to the series or season.
It's just like, if that's the end of Chuck, and I have to believe it probably. Do you think it is?
I don't see where else his character can go. He's literally isolated himself on every side.
Yeah.
He's got nobody that would even
He's
talk to
isolated
him.
himself from HHM. He has completely and totally shit on, destroyed, shit on again, and then shit on the third time his brother.
Yeah.
And Jimmy keeps coming back like a fucking whipped dog, though.
Not anymore. That was the last time, I'll guarantee you.
The shitty thing is it's going to crush Jimmy, too. It's going to crush him.
Of course it is. But I think that's what's going to push him even more to the fucking dark side. Like when Jane died and Jesse Pinkman went further down the dark side. It's going to be just like that, I think.
Yep. So why don't we shift now, because we don't have a ton of time left either, but why don't we shift now, because there's a whole other plot that happens this season, and that is Mike. First of all, how amazing is the entire thing where Mike deconstructs the car, finds the tracker, drains the tracker of its battery just to get them to come and replace it so he can
then track them. Yeah. I was sitting there watching the whole time. I was like, what the fuck is this guy doing? And I was like, okay, it's probably a tracker. That's probably why. Okay. And watching, and I'm like, what is he doing to this thing? And I see him, and it all clicks. And I'm like, this sly motherfucker. Look at you.
I love Mike.
I was actually, he is like such a renaissance man. He's like the handiest guy to ever know in this kind of business, Because I loved it when Jimmy sent him in to be the handyman to replace the door, and he's doing all this stuff to drive Chuck out of there, gets all the fucking pictures taken for the, undercover spy thing, but then also fucking fixes the door. Because he's fucking Mike.
Right?
Of course he fixed the door, too.
Of course he fixed
he knows
it.
how to do everything.
Probably better than any of the door company or whatever that they would have hired. And that was also a really clever plot too. I really, really loved that, where they searched and searched and searched through to find the company that he hired to repair the door, and then
Kim's helping. And Kim's the one helping, so like she's on board with a lot of the shit that has to be done. She doesn't shy away from the tough shit. Speaking
of Kim, how about Kim working herself nearly to death on the oil company and getting into a car accident?
That was scary. Like, I liked the way they shot it, because it went from her driving to her waking up.
To the wrecked car. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really.
It was like, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, really, really nice way of shooting something like that, because I mean, we've seen car crashes a million times. So would seeing the car crash have driven home the dramatic effect anymore? I don't think so.
No, I think it was much cooler to see it from her perspective, exactly how she's experiencing it.
Yeah.
That was definitely unique.
That was a scary moment. And it was, you know what? It was so nice to see Jimmy shift into like just that really caring mode. Like, he did not want to leave her side. He wanted to do nothing but take care of her. He wanted to, get her everything which was great.
And she says, Jimmy, you're not beating me. That's where we draw the line. She definitely can hold her own. She's a strong character.
I love her.
Yeah, I dig Kim. She's actually coming up for me later on at the tail end of this podcast, if you recall what I normally do. She's going to be in my Mary Bank Hill.
Oh, yeah. We got to get there soon. Yeah. But a couple more things I wanted to bring up really, really quick is Hector Salamanca's subplot in this season.
What a dick.
Dude. You're not a dude. The way he turns...
I'm fine. I don't care. I'm a
the
dude.
way he turns against Don Eladio, because Eladio prefers Gus's... I mean, number one, Gus is giving him way more money. And number two, Gus's methods and everything. Like, he brings the nicely shrink-wrapped piles of cash. And, Salamanca's throwing it rolled up into a bag and everything. Like, it's just... The way that Hector kind of downturns, and I think Nacho's another character that I really, really love, and I really, really loved watching that character this season, like, finally have had enough of Hector Salamanca, and, it's when he tries to use his dad's business, and he tries to take control of his dad's business to funnel their drugs across the border, that he draws the line and comes up with the plot to kill Hector, which we know he doesn't.
Also, yeah, we know he doesn't. But it's also when he tries to take over his dad's business, and his dad kind of gets like nervous about it. And at the end, Hector says, I don't trust him. I feel like Nacho's getting really predictive, like, okay, he doesn't trust my dad. Like, my dad's life is at risk. And this guy, you don't fuck around. He's not going to work with people he doesn't trust.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I just, like, I liked seeing Giancarlo Esposito again this season. I liked seeing Gus Fring. But for me, he wasn't like he didn't have a major subplot this season, because we really just, it
was more about Hector and Nacho.
Exactly. It was more about Hector and Nacho, and it was more about kind of how Mike ends up becoming aligned with Gus. And of course, we get to see Lydia for the first time in Breaking Bad. How much do you hate Lydia?
I fucking hate her, but again, it's one of those characters that annoys me, but she plays it so well, because she's supposed to do that. She's supposed to irritate the crap out of you.
Every time I see her, all I can picture is her wanting what did she like? She liked was it Splenda?
It was a tea or whatever that she normally got. And I think, Splenda. And she would always have somebody sit in the booth behind her and look straight ahead or whatever, and not sit down with her. She's a fucking nut.
Well, why don't we go ahead? We've only got a few minutes left, so why don't we go ahead and get over to Fuck, Marry, Kill?
All right. You want to go first? Or do you want me to go first?
I'll let you go first.
All right, I'm going to marry Kim Wexler, because we've already talked about how great she is. I'm going to bang Howard Hamlin, because there's not too many good-looking guys on the show. And I'm going to kill Chuck, because why not? He needs to die. I'm happy that he's gone.
I am 150,000% going to kill Chuck.
Yeah, you have to.
I'm straight up. I'm dropping a fucking piano on his ass.
Yes. Burn it to the ground.
Oh, God damn it! I hate Chuck. I don't know. I think I would have to marry Kim Wexler as well because I love her to death. I'll fuck Howard Hamlin too. I'll stay right in lockstep.
You're gonna just copy my whole fucking list.
He is a handsome gentleman. I will give him that. He is a very, very handsome gentleman.
He's a damn fine looking douchebag.
Oh my God. So Ashlee used to have a podcast called the Rabbit Ears TV podcast on indefinite hiatus or just on like a indeterminate hiatus.
It's one of those things where my life has become so crazy and so hectic, and podcasting was turning into a source of stress, and I always want it to be something that I enjoy. So when I can balance my shit out and I can get back to enjoying it and not stressing over it, that's when I'll do it. But I still love all the people. I
hope that you get there soon because I've always like, and especially talking like I will sit down for another 10 episodes with you on Breaking Bad, and then. Or not Breaking Bad, but Better Call Saul, and then think of the episodes we could do just on Breaking Bad. Like, I could probably do an episode per episode of Breaking Bad.
Honestly, we'd have to probably break that down by season.
Oh, easily.
Because it would just be a 16-hour podcast. We still have to do Arrested Development 2.0, too.
Yes, we do. Ashlee, you're wonderful. Thank you very, very much for being here. And if you guys notice, on the live stream, if you're watching, down here in the image that I have of Ashlee, she's wearing a Los Pollos Hermanos.
Oh my God. How appropriate.
I was like, I have to find that picture of her wearing that because, of course, Gus finally shows up this season.
Excellent. Nick, I'm so proud of you and everything you guys are doing. I could not even express the degree of my pride. So.
Well, thank you very much. And it's been absolutely amazing. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be bringing in Super Movie Brother Dave to do a movie cocktail on Lethal Weapon 1 and 2. First, before we get there, though, I want you guys to drop some hashtag Ashlee. Hashtag Ashlee over in the stream, and we're going to be giving away an epic film, guys. What do you think, Ashlee? Do you want to give away a shirt, or do you want to give away a mug?
Give away a mug. You haven't done one yet.
All right.
And honestly, I'll give away a Rabbit Ears TV shirt. So,
Boom. So a Rabbit Ears TV podcast shirt and an epic Film Guys coffee mug. Giving it away. Drop it over in the stream right now. Hashtag Ashlee. And if you really want us to love you, hashtag fuck Chuck too.
Yes.
Oh, God, I hate Chuck so much.
But that wasn't Michael McKean and This Is Spinal Tap as well?
I believe so.
That just shows a lot of range for that guy. Like, that's crazy.
It's the funny thing, too. You think of Michael McKean and Bob Odenkirk. Both of them are comedians. Like, they both come from a comedic background.
Yeah.
Especially Odenkirk. Like, he's been a comedy writer for fucking, like, his entire life.
Yeah. And don't forget his guest spot on Arrested Development. As the fucking therapist. Oh, and you know what's funny? I was actually watching Gremlins last Christmas, and Mike Ehrmantraut is a cop in Gremlins.
Is he really?
Yeah. If you watch it, and it's like when they're breaking into the police station, Mike Ehrmantraut, and he's bald back then too, motherfucker.
And my brother up in the chat, super fuck Chuck, Jared Taylor, fuck Chuck.
Nice.
Hashtag Ashlee. Go ahead and drop them in there. Ashlee, thank you so much for supporting the event and for being on. I love talking about this show, and I love talking TV with you because it's always a great conversation. It really is.
Right. I love talking with you too. And just send me the information for whoever wins so I can DM them about which shirt they want to get.
Oh my God, I definitely will. So we are going to say goodbye, everybody, to Ashlee, and we are going to welcome Super Movie Brother Dave. Maybe. Dave? Dave, are you out there?
Is anybody out there?
I don't see him on... He DM'd me earlier because he said he was home. He had to go to South Carolina earlier. Did he?
We could do another 30 minutes if you want to.
I mean, you can hang out right where you are if you like.
I'll hang out with you, baby.
Let's see.
We can talk Arrested Development 2.0 right now if you want to. We can talk about the remix.
Oh my god, I am
remix too.
about halfway through the remix.
I got to think, episode 13 or so.
Oh, Dave just sent me a picture of the Riggs Rum Runner. This is a cocktail that we're going to be drinking on the show. He just sent it to me over on Twitter. So I'm guessing he's going to be getting into Discord here any moment. But super quick, because I guess he's on his way. Super quick. Thoughts on the remix?
It's still the worst season out of the four. However, this is vastly improved. The only thing I get kind of confused on is timelines and stuff like that, like when everything is happening, because it feels kind of messy in that regard. But the storytelling is much better.
Yep. I agree 100%. I mean, it's literally, I could not have said it better myself. It's still the worst season. It still has Maria Bamford in it. It still has face blindness in it.
Yeah.
It still has some pretty cringe elements, but rearranging the episodes so that way when there is that plot that you're like, I don't really care about this plot, and then they bring back, you cut over to Buster or cut over to whomever else, and okay, I'm digging their plot right now.
Yeah, it's much better this way. You don't get a huge overload. Like a whole maybe episode is absolutely overkill. You don't need that. Just spice her in a little bit for comic relief, and that's all she's good for.
Yeah, and that's
Steve Holt!
That was the problem too when it came to this. Is that what the hell was it? I'm trying to think. Shit, I'm trying to think.
Your brother said he hasn't watched the remix yet. The remix is worth watching if you have nothing else to watch, and it's a good lead-in because Arrested Development Season 5 is dropping in like a week.
Yeah.
A little over a week.
It's good. It's good because there are those plots in the show where if you didn't like the plot that they were going with, like think about the Lindsay episodes, especially in the original season 4. Jesus God, those were a drag to get through. But now they're intercut among, okay, there's a funny bit with Buster now. Okay. Yeah. So it's not as bad, because you're mixing it in with everything else and comparing it.
Since they were able to do this, why did they do season 4 the other way originally? It doesn't make any sense.
I don't know. Maybe they just wanted to try something different, see if they could get it to work, or whatever the case may be. Oh, Dave needs an invite to join. Okay, I gotta copy,
get your shit together.
Paste. Get your shit together, Nick. Damn.
Get it all in a bag.
Oh, Icy Shampoo is floating around in there. Loot Quest is going to be taking over the live stream for The Cure after Dave and I get done talking about Lethal Weapon.
Nice.
Dave, go ahead and jump into the on the air or off the air channels. He can't hear me. Why am I talking?
I don't know.
Oh, I got caps lock on.
You got to draw a winner, Nick.
Oh, yes, I do. Ladies and gentlemen, so they're going to win an epic Film Guys mug and a Rabbit Ears TV podcast shirt. Ladies and gentlemen, the winner. God damn it.
What?
Dan Brennick, ladies and gentlemen.
I don't need you to DM me his contact. It's fine.
Are you sure? Do you need Dan's contact info?
I think I have it somewhere. Fucking winning. Look, he got a return on his $20 investment at the beginning of the segment.
That is true. That is very, very true.
There you go.
How much is he celebrating over in the chat right now?
I'm a winner. I'm a winner. I knew it was me as soon as Nick went, God damn it.
I
and
did
face
too.
bombed for about 5 seconds.
I had a feeling. Good job,
Dave
Bobby.
Brennick, who probably owns more EFG swag than maybe anybody but Patrick Sherwood.
No, I own
we
more
are
than
going to
him.
say goodbye to
All right,
Dan
goodbye.
and Shlee. Shlee, I love you.
Bye.
Thank you for being here. You're
I love you,
amazing.
Nick.
Dan, I also love you. Here
You
we left.
are.